Hey, this is Matt once again. What about you in the video? This is a paid request, this time for Chad. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, reviews, topics, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now this is for, like I said, Chad, and it's for a film called Battle for Terra, which I swear I reviewed this before, but I have no idea what happened to the review. It might have been copyright BS. It might have been COPPA. If you don't know what that is, just look it up, and it'd take too long to explain. Really annoying BS from, I don't know, a few years ago now. But watching, it's the second time watching the film Battle for Terra. It says 2007, but then it also says it came out May 2009, so IMDb and stuff say 2007, so I don't know what the deal is. Like I said, it says 2007, but then, oh, it actually came out 2000, I don't know. Anyway, this is a film that, my thoughts on it, I don't remember what the hell I originally thought of this film. As of now, I didn't hate it, it just felt very generic, forgettable, which I didn't make sense why I don't remember what I originally thought of this. Generic, forgettable, crazy. You got a noticeable voice cast for a film that I guess the money went into that cast because it's not on the screen. But I keep hearing like, oh, it costs 4 to 8 million, but then one place says 20 million, but then Wikipedia says 4 to 8, but it's Wikipedia, you don't know. I don't know how much this costs. It looks cheap though. I'll give credit, some of the idea of the designs are not bad because it's about these creatures on Terra, the Terrians. The world has these mushroom stalks and these mushrooms around, and they fly in these old school contraptions, and there'll be these flying whales that are beside them. Some of those ideas of the world are not too bad. The voice cast, I didn't really have any issues with the voice cast. You have Evan Rachel Wood, I should say, not Ward. What if I'm Ward? Evan Rachel Wood. You have Brian Cox, who I remember he was the original Hannibal Lecter in, as my nose is itching. Well, what am I, allergic to this movie? What the hell? Maybe that's the thing. I'm allergic to this movie apparently, because now it's making me itch. I swear I was not itching before I did this. Brian Cox, he was the pretty much one of the main bad guys in X-Men 2. He's the original Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter. Luke Wilson, star of Idiocracy, which is sadly now a documentary. Chris Evans, this is well before Captain America and stuff. James Garner, may he rest in peace, the original Maverick. I'm on Rockford Files. Danny Glover, Mike Harrigan from Predator 2, Lethal Weapon films as Murtaugh. You have Amanda Peet, which I think I remember, like, the whole 9 yards, and this film called Saving Silverman. I think that was Amanda Peet. I could be wrong. Been a while since I've seen those. David Cross, Justin Long, who was in the first Jeepers Creepers. He's in this new film Barbarian that I keep hearing people bring up, but I don't know really anything about the film. He's been in a lot of Kevin Smith stuff nowadays. Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid is in this. So he has pretty stacked cast. I think Mark Hamill is in this, I believe. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. See, I'm going on about this voice cast, and I went, man, all these voices for this movie? Maybe that's why it gets like a 6.7 IMDb. I appreciate that it's trying to take itself a bit seriously. It's not fart jokes, dick jokes, strictly for kids. I can appreciate what it's trying to do and trying to be a bit serious, and Granted, it's a story, very, very old type of story. Hell, if it was made 2009, this eventually came out, later you would see an Avatar, where you have this world of aliens, invaders come, and you find out the invaders are humans, and the humans are the bad guys. And at first they're taking people, and the aliens think it's a type of god, as they're being kidnapped to be studied. But you find out that the humans, Brian Cox is the evil military guy. Danny Glover is like the president, but then it seems like he doesn't really have much to do or much power as president. So I don't know really what Danny Glover's function really was. He felt like he was barely in the movie. One thing leads to another. Our lead, Evan Rachel Ward. Why do I keep saying Ward? Evan Rachel Wood. I think she was in Dick Carter with Stallone. Actually, I have the DVD right here. Let me check real quick. Is that her? No, that's Rachel Lee Cook. Different person. What the fuck? Wow. That's Rachel Lee Cook. Well, 3 names, and it's a lady. So, Evan Rachel Wood. Was she in She's All That? I can't remember. Shows how little I know. Yeah, they're being kidnapped. Luke Wilson's a human who tries to get the lead, but he collapses because mass just trapped. Humans can't stand the atmosphere. The aliens are peaceful, so she takes the human in. David Cross is this robot who works and helps Luke Wilson's character. Oh, he needs oxygen. She helps. He breathes. He has the idea, listen, you help fix my ship, I'll get you back to your dad. Her dad is played by Dennis Quaid, who again, he doesn't get much to do and say. Danny Glover doesn't get much to do or say. Justin Long, he appears mainly in the beginning, the ending. Well, not the ending. The beginning disappears for a bit, then pretty much the halfway point he's in a bit more. But these terrors, like, they don't have much to say. There's not much deep for a story that's trying to be fairly serious. There's not a lot of development of a lot of these characters. That's why I'm being very humdrum vague on it, because there's not much to say about them. The aliens look like sea monkeys. The humans, the designs, it just felt it's cheap animation. And it is a noticeable discrepancy. And when you have a story that's been done multiple times, whether it be in Fern Gully or live action like Dancing with Wolves or even Last Samurai, all sorts of stuff. Maybe not Last Samurai, maybe not so much, but in a way, group being taken over by another group, opposing side works, just like Luke Wilson and our lead, Evan Rachel Wood, work together. And we've seen the humans are the bad guys, and it just feels all generic. It feels like it doesn't really add anything that new to the table for it to exist. And dialogue-wise, emotional, core-wise, like I said, a lot of these actors, they feel like they're barely a blip in terms of the story. And it's not a long movie. It really isn't a long movie. Without the end credits, it feels like an hour and 20-some minutes. And, like I said, you don't really get a lot of deep stuff with the characters. It's building up the location. Here are the humans coming, kidnapping people, helping Luke Wilson. Let's make a deal. She tells a little bit of her world. We thank life for what it brings us. Luke Wilson, spoiler alert, I'll get into spoilers now. Heavy spoilers, I should say. She brings Luke Wilson. Well, she helps Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson brings her to get her dad. She's getting her dad. But most immediately when she gets her dad, the humans are coming. He says, I love you, shoots. They get sucked out, the dad dies. So goodbye, Dennis Quaid. Barely got to know you. I really did barely get to know him. Just sad waste of Dennis Quaid's talent. That's the thing that makes me go, why was this such a stacked cast when, Danny Glover, anybody could have voiced that character. I don't know if any meaningful impact that character had on any bits of the story. It seemed like he had no power for his position. It was all Brian Cox. Justin Long, I mean, anybody could have played. So many of these characters, other than maybe Luke Wilson and the lead and Brian Cox, maybe David Cross. I would say those four. Nobody else really had anything much of merit. And David Cross, he was just bigger of a terms of plot point. Because David Cross, robot, makes it so that the human and the alien could understand each other. Luke Wilson tells the robot, you gotta protect her no matter what. Chris Evans plays Luke Wilson's brother, and Chris Evans feels like he's barely in the movie. Pretty much he's there where Brian Cox shoves the brother and the alien. They're both going to die, son, but you don't have to make a choice. So Luke Wilson, of course, chooses his brother. But he tells the robot to open it. And for some reason, it takes these guys 5 minutes. Well, not really, but... there's a robot on there. And there's a laser. What is that robot doing? Duh. What do you think it's doing? It's changing for a Duracell battery. What the fuck do you think it's doing? It's calling to see what time the movie theater opens. It's trying to find something on Craigslist. Well, they don't do that anymore. Try something on whatever fuck TikTok video, whatever the fuck. Did you have an IQ test for this job or what? Nah, I didn't think so. Takes him so long. Oh, there's a robot with a laser on this thing. Duh. Wonder what he's doing. He's giving some fucking sunshine. I don't... Alien escapes. The aliens have these ships because they weren't always peaceful. And then the last 20-some minutes is a battle. In a way, the ships, the way the alien ship, they kind of look like some ships I would see in the Star Wars prequels. I forget what they're called, but kind of what I think kind of what Jango Fett was flying. Kind of looked like his type of ship in a way. Not exactly, but kinda. Whereas the ship is more this than wide. And Chris Evans and Evan Rachel Wood are trying to kill each other because Chris Evans shoots down Justin Long, but he's not dead. But she doesn't know that yet. And then they're shooting each other, and Luke Wilson trying to pry them apart. And a literal visual representation of he gets in the middle of two of them. So it's not subtle on that. And then heavy spoilers. Wilson doesn't know. I keep wanting to say Luke Evans. That's a different person. Luke Wilson doesn't know what to do. Sees Brian Cox, goes towards him. Explosion. Stops the terraforming device so that the aliens are not going to suffocate. Then the aliens go, oh, they have no food, no water. What are they going to do? Then they say one line, and it cuts away, and then, oh, the humans and aliens are working together, and they're building a statue to Luke Wilson, and Chris Evans does this to the alien, and I'm like, Wow, that was an easy. I guess no grudges. Like, yeah, I killed this and you killed that, and like there's. It felt like a very abrupt transition. I guess, hey, a human gave his life. That automatically just made everybody. Because if you do to change, and if I did to change, then everybody to change. I don't know why I decided to add stuttering there, but maybe because in my mind I was stuttering because I was watching this. I'm like, what? Like, I I get the idea, but no other in between. Like, even a montage of the humans being unsure of the aliens and the aliens welcoming them, and even aliens being unsure of the humans, and vice versa. And maybe David Cross's robot being sad or upset, or that his friend is gone, or no, not really. A funeral, each one having funerals for their fallen families, friends, funerals, like no transition, no build, no. I just thought that was a very like okay. And again, just the cheaper looking animation, the ugly human designs. Let's say it ends with Evan and Rachel Wood flying, and there's the big statue of Luke Wilson. Everything's fine, and then people would see almost again if this came out May 2009. Well, no one saw this movie, but you see almost a similar movie when Avatar came out. And yeah, this film is at least a lot shorter than Avatar. I'll give you that. It's a lot shorter, but it's kind of going to the same type of plot. I just other than the romance part. Although I guess that'd be, I probably would have laughed. The human, the sea monkey. Yeah, they do look like sea monkeys, like the type you would in the comic book. You buy them and then you realize they weren't the picture. They were just this little thing that did fucking nothing. What the fuck is that? This is a sea monkey. What? You didn't really know what a sea monkey was, You just looked at the picture. The cartoon. The artiste. It just seems like a big waste of this voice cast. Again, Chris Evans, Danny Glover, Dennis Quaid, anybody could play this role. There's really nothing to them. And to their characters and to their performances. Not much to do, not much to gauge. And just again, with this type of story, this type of plot, it just comes off as generic and forgettable to me. Like, you've seen this done more and more, and what does this offer different compared to the others? Not really much of anything. Is that a rant? Because at least it doesn't overstay his welcome, and most of these folks in the cast I liked, so it's nice to hear the voices. It's just there's not much to it. I wouldn't say it's boring. But it's just like I didn't really have any other strong feelings other than yeah. I would like to know the backstory and the making of this and how they got all these folks. Was it meant to be a bigger movie? Was it meant to be a bigger budget movie? Was it meant to be a higher profile movie? Because they got all this. Was it we spent all the money on the cast, but then was funding pulled, and we lost money and we just did it much cheaper? Because really, if this went direct to video, you wouldn't be surprised based on this animation. You really would not be surprised if this went direct to video. You'd be like, well, fuck, all these people. Well, I just, to be honest, there are some direct-to-video films you go, what, it has that cast? So maybe it's not as strange as I make it sound. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. If you see the trailer, you're interested in, go for it. Just, did nothing for me. So, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.